Ever noticed how your brain seems to sabotage you right when you need it most? You know that big presentation is coming up tomorrow, or that difficult conversation with your boss, and suddenly your mind becomes this chaotic storm of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. But here's the thing. What if I told you that neuroscience has cracked the code on how to stay calm when you know stress is heading your way? Picture this. It's 3 a.m. and Sarah is lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow's the day she's been dreading, her first big client presentation since getting promoted. Her heart is already racing, her palms are sweaty, and she hasn't even left her bedroom yet. Sound familiar? Sarah's brain is doing exactly what evolution designed it to do. But in our modern world, this ancient system often works against us. Let me take you inside what's actually happening in her head, and more importantly, how she can take control of it. When Sarah thinks about tomorrow's presentation, her amygdala, think of it as your brain's smoke detector, immediately starts screaming, "Danger!" This tiny almond-shaped region processes emotions and threat detection, and right now, it's treating that PowerPoint presentation like a saber-toothed tiger. But here's where it gets interesting. The amygdala doesn't work alone. It's having a conversation with the prefrontal cortex, your brain's CEO, responsible for executive functions, decision-making, and keeping your emotions in check. In resilient people, the prefrontal cortex acts like a wise manager, telling the amygdala, "Hey, calm down, it's just a presentation, not a life or death situation." The problem? When we're stressed, this communication breaks down. The amygdala gets louder, while the prefrontal cortex gets quieter. It's like having a smoke detector that won't shut off while the fire chief is stuck in traffic. While this neural drama unfolds, your body launches into action. The hypothalamus, your brain's command center, activates two major stress systems, the HPA axis and the SAM system. Think of them as your body's emergency response teams. The HPA axis releases cortisol, your primary stress hormone. In short bursts, cortisol is actually helpful. It mobilizes energy, sharpens focus, and prepares you for action. But when it stays elevated, because you're anticipating stress for hours or days, it starts working against you. Your working memory gets fuzzy, your attention scatters, and ironically, you perform worse on the very thing you're stressed about. Meanwhile, the SAM system floods your body with adrenaline and norepinephrine. Your heart rate spikes, your breathing gets shallow, and your muscles tense up. Again, great for running from actual danger, not so much for delivering a compelling quarterly report. So how do we hack this system? How do we keep our inner smoke detector from going haywire when we know stress is coming? The answer lies in understanding neural flexibility, particularly in a brain region called the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. Research shows that people who stay calm under pressure have something called neural flexibility in this area. Their brains can rapidly switch between different activation states, adapting to whatever the situation demands. It's like having a Swiss Army knife instead of just a hammer in your cognitive toolkit. But here's the beautiful part. This flexibility isn't fixed. You can train it. Let's go back to Sarah. Instead of lying there catastrophizing, what if she used her anticipatory anxiety as fuel for preparation? Here's what the neuroscience suggests. Cognitive reappraisal. This isn't just positive thinking. It's literally rewiring your brain's interpretation of stress. When Sarah reframes her presentation from, "I'm going to humiliate myself," to, "This is an opportunity to share ideas I care about," she's engaging her prefrontal cortex to down-regulate her amygdala. Studies show this technique actually changes brain activity patterns, reducing emotional reactivity. Mental contrasting. Here's a counterintuitive approach. Instead of just visualizing success, Sarah imagines both the desired outcome and the obstacles she might face. This technique, backed by decades of research, helps the brain prepare adaptive responses rather than just hope for the best. But wait, isn't imagining problems going to make her more anxious? That's where the next piece comes in. The pre-mortem technique. Sarah mentally walks through everything that could go wrong with her presentation, then develops specific action plans for each scenario. This isn't catastrophizing, it's strategic preparation. When your prefrontal cortex has a plan, your amygdala relaxes because the threat feels manageable. Now, what if Sarah has been practicing mindfulness meditation for the past few months? The neuroscience here is remarkable. Regular mindfulness practice literally changes the structure and function of stress-related brain regions. The prefrontal cortex gets thicker and more active. Better emotional regulation. The amygdala becomes less reactive. Fewer false alarms. And the connections between these regions strengthen. Better communication between your inner fire chief and smoke detector. But here's what most people don't know about meditation and stress. Different types of meditation affect the brain differently. Focused attention meditation, like concentrating on your breath, strengthens your ability to sustain attention under pressure. Open monitoring meditation, observing thoughts without judgment, enhances cognitive flexibility. Loving kindness meditation activates brain areas associated with positive emotions and social connection, providing a buffer against stress. Here's where things get really interesting. We're entering an era where technology can help us monitor and modulate our stress in real time. Imagine Sarah wearing a device that tracks her heart rate variability, skin conductance, and even her brain waves. When it detects early signs of stress escalation, it could guide her through a personalized breathing exercise or provide gentle neurofeedback to help her brain find its calm state. These aren't science fiction. They exist today. EEG-based neurofeedback systems can train your brain to produce more alpha waves associated with relaxation. Heart rate variability monitors can help you optimize your breathing patterns for maximum calm. The key is learning to use these tools before you need them, building your stress resilience like a muscle. But individual techniques are only part of the story. Your brain is fundamentally social, and stress is contagious, but so is calm. When Sarah mentions her presentation anxiety to a supportive colleague, her brain releases oxytocin, which literally dampens amygdala reactivity. This isn't just about feeling better emotionally, it's about neurobiological stress buffering. Research shows that people with strong social support networks have different stress brain signatures. Their prefrontal cortex stays more active, their HPA axis is better regulated, and they recover from stress faster. The tend and befriend response isn't just for women. It's a fundamental human stress management strategy that we've largely forgotten in our individualistic culture. Here's something most stress management advice gets wrong. It assumes everyone's brain responds the same way. But individual differences in stress response are enormous. Some people are naturally more sensitive to cortisol. Others have genetic variations that affect how their brain processes stress neurotransmitters. Some respond better to cognitive approaches, others to physical interventions. The future of stress management is personalized. Imagine taking a simple genetic test that reveals your stress vulnerability profile, combined with brain imaging that shows your unique neural stress patterns. Your stress management plan could be tailored to your biology, not just your preferences. Let's get practical. If you're facing a stressful situation tomorrow, here's your neuroscience-backed action plan. Start with your breath, but not how you think. Instead of just taking deep breaths, try physiological sighs, a double inhale through the nose, followed by a long exhale through the mouth. This pattern specifically activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the branch that promotes calm. Next, engage your prefrontal cortex with strategic planning. Write out 3 specific things that could go wrong and your exact response to each. This isn't pessimism. It's giving your brain the control it craves. Then, use cognitive reappraisal. Instead of, "I'm nervous," try, "I'm excited." Research shows this small language shift can change your physiological stress response from threat to challenge mode. Finally, if possible, connect with someone who makes you feel supported. Even a brief text exchange can trigger oxytocin release and provide neurobiological stress buffering. We're on the brink of a revolution in how we understand and manage stress. Artificial intelligence systems that can predict stress episodes before they happen. Closed-loop brain stimulation devices that can interrupt stress patterns in real time. Personalized interventions based on your unique neural and genetic profile. But the most powerful tool is still the one between your ears. Your brain has an incredible capacity for change, neuroplasticity, that continues throughout your life. Every time you practice staying calm in the face of anticipated stress, you're literally rewiring your neural circuits for resilience. Remember Sarah from the beginning. 6 months after implementing these neuroscience-based strategies, she's still nervous before big presentations. But now that nervousness feels like energy rather than anxiety, her amygdala still detects the challenge, but her strengthened prefrontal cortex has learned to respond with curiosity rather than catastrophe. The next time you're facing a stressful situation, remember, your brain's stress response system evolved to keep you alive, not to keep you happy. But with the right knowledge and tools, you can work with your neurobiology rather than against it. You can train your brain to stay calm when you know stress is coming. Because here's the truth that neuroscience has revealed. Stress isn't something that happens to you. It's something your brain creates. And if your brain creates it, your brain can also control it. The power to stay calm in the storm isn't some mystical ability reserved for monks and Navy SEALs. It's a learnable skill, backed by decades of brain research, available to anyone willing to train their neural circuits for resilience. Your brain is already amazing at managing stress. It just needs better instructions. Now you have them.